yes, we're looking at the parable of the wise and foolish builders. So, as you, there's three friends having a cup of coffee, sitting around the table, and one of them's a doctor, one of them's an architect, one of them's a builder. Paul's going, no, not builders. And they're sitting there and they're discussing which is the oldest profession. So the doctor says, well, obviously, being a doctor is the oldest profession. God took the rib of the man and made woman. That's what it says in the Bible. That's a surgical procedure. So it's obvious that being a doctor is the oldest profession. The architect goes, no. He said that God created the heavens and the earth out of chaos. So architecture, design is the oldest profession. The builder says, no. Who do you think created the chaos in the first place? Yes. So we are talking about the wise and the foolish builders this morning. It seems like I've done nothing other than talk. I had one of the senior directors of Skanska and the senior shareholder come round site on Tuesday, so that was that day. I had bunch of 15-year-olds come round from schools on Thursday. I had two groups of 8-year-olds come round on Friday. That nearly broke me. and then I had two groups of the public come round the project yesterday. There's this thing called open doors. We open up sites to encourage people to come round and see what we do. And we had two groups yesterday as well. So it seems like I have to do presentations. I do it predominantly because I'm quite good at it, and also I enjoy doing it, presenting the industry that I love, children, that to get them enthused about it. And here I am again on Sunday, bringing and sharing with you, but you're not 8-year-olds. Are you? No, you're not 8. Sometimes when I'm working on site, it feels like I'm dealing with 8-year-olds, but no. So it's been a busy week, but we're carrying on talking about those parables of Jesus. And we've ended up with this one in Luke 6. And I wondered why it ended up with me, being a builder, talking about a wise and foolish builder. And I wondered, what was that thought process when, Ryan and Anne-Marie were setting these and they were doing it? It's like a busman's holiday. But anyway, so let's get on and let's read that passage together. I'll read it out to you. It's from Luke 6, 46 to 49. It says this. Why do you call me Lord, Lord? Do not do what I say. Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and acts on them, I will show you whom he is like. He is like a man building a house, dug deep and laid a foundation on the rock. And when the flood occurred, the torrent burst against the house and could not shake it, because it had been well built. But the one who has heard and not acted accordingly is like a man who built a house on the ground without any foundation, and the torrent burst against it, and immediately it collapsed, and the ruin of that house was great. Foundation. Yeah? So, what happens if you get the wrong foundation? Oops. That one. Whole block of flats just fallen off. You can see at the bottom, you can see those little legs sticking out. Well, they're the piles. So they've obviously designed the foundations completely wrong. Because they designed the foundations wrong, the house couldn't stand. Probably the most famous one, yeah, leaning. Pretty weird. I walked up it a few years back, and you walk when you walk up the stairs, you go from the outside to the inside. Your brain is thinking, it wants to find something. It's really weird. Your brain does it. You don't know you're doing it, but your brain does it. When we got to the top, the guy said, "When you're walking up, did you notice anything?" Yeah, we. And, well, yeah, that's just your brain is finding horizontal path up building. Your brain just does it. Unbelievable. But we have these issues. We have these foundations, and the foundations are important because they take the load. So everything is put on that building. We have different loads. Okay, so there are dead loads. I'm an engineer by background, so this is going to get a little bit techy. We have dead loads, which is the weight of the building itself. Yeah. We have live loads, which is the loads with people, weights, storage. We have dynamic loads, which is wind. And all that loading, all those forces make their way down to make their way down. Unless your foundation is right, then it will. Unless your foundation is right, the building it's redundant. It's not safe. It can't function as it. So the first question I came up with when I was thinking about this was, who was Jesus speaking? Because when we've looked at other parables in the past, like the shepherd sheep, lost coin, the other one, I can't remember, three, the lost son, Jesus was talking to the Pharisees, the Sadducees. But here, he's talking to a different group of people. We look back earlier in that chapter in Luke 6, and it says this. It says, Jesus came down with them and stood on a level place, and there was a large crowd of his disciples and a great throng of people from all Judea and Jerusalem and the coastal region of Tyre, Sidon. And he had come, who had come to hear him and be healed of their disease. And those who were troubled with unclean spirits were being cured. And all the people were trying to touch him, for the power was coming from him and healing him. Who was Jesus speaking to? People. It wasn't to teachers, it wasn't to Pharisees, it was to the people who had come to see him, who had come to be healed, who had come to be made whole. These are the people he come to see. I just love those words in there, you know, that they couldn't get enough of him. They were there, they had to be there. Was it and all the people were trying to touch him. The power was coming out of him. He was like a magnet for them. Those people, you know, with unclean spirits or whatever it was, that it just came to him because there was something about Jesus that was different. There was something that was fresh. There was something that was dynamic. There was something that was real. Something that brought them back to where they were. It was about Jesus. So we have this story of the wise and foolish builders. Jesus is telling it to the people. I want us to read it again, and I want you to listen. Look at what the key words are, okay? Read it again, and as we read it, just think about what the key words are. Why do you call me Lord, Lord? Do not do what I say. Everyone who comes to me and hears words and acts on them, I will show you whom he is like. He is like a man building a house, dug deep and laid a foundation on the rock. And when the flood occurred, the torrent burst against the house and could not shake it, because it had been well built. But the one who heard and has not acted accordingly is like a man who built a house on the ground without any foundation, and the torrent burst against it, and it immediately collapsed, and the ruin of that house was great. So what are the key words in this whole story? What do you think? Foundation, act, act, action. Yeah. What else? Hearing, hearing, activation, tolerance. Okay. Yeah. Deep foundation. Yeah. They're all, you're all right. They're all key words. Okay. The conclusion I came to, there were two key words. I've said them today. Hear. Yeah. Wise man who built his house on solid foundation heard, and he acted. You who call me Lord, Lord, why do you say? Why do you not do what I say? Everyone who comes to me and hears words and acts upon them, I will show you whom he is like. He is like this man who built his house upon rock. But one who has heard and not acted accordingly is like a man who built his house on the ground without any foundation, and the torrent burst. So I was reading this, I'm thinking it's about hearing and it's about doing. So the next question that went into my heart, what were they hearing? What was the very thing Jesus was trying to teach them? Well, we have to go back further in this story, in this passage. Okay? What were they meant? Okay, it's like, saying to a teacher, well, teacher says, we'll go and do some math. But if no one's taught how to do the maths, how can they do the math? If people say, well, go and act and do what I say, and he hasn't said anything, how can they go and do what they say? So Jesus must have said something. Jesus must have said something for them to act and do. And what we do is that we find this earlier on. And this starts back, much back. This story, this parable, is a much bigger discourse, a much bigger conversation that's happened in the chapter. It starts way back in verse 12, the apostles. And then in verse 17, we have this about Jesus is going down with the large crowd, which is the one that we read about earlier. Then verse 20 starts with the Beatitudes. Blessed are they. Blessed are those. And when we get to verse 27, the same chapter, it says this. But I say to you, hang on. He's saying to them, you need to listen to this. Listen to this. This is important. Listen to this because this is revolution. Listen to this because this is different. Listen to this because you won't hear this anywhere else. Listen to this. But I say to you who hear. What he says. But I say to you who hear, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Whoever hits you on the cheek, offer him the other also. And whoever takes away your coat, do not withhold your shirt from him either. Give to everyone who asks of you, and whoever takes away what is yours, do not demand it back. Treat others the same way you want them to treat you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. If you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners in order to receive back the same amount. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expect nothing in return, and your reward will be great. And you will be sons of the Most High. He himself is kind to the ungrateful and evil men. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Pardon, and you will be pardoned. Give, and it will be given to you. They will pour into your lap a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. For by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you in return. I read that, thinking, I watching a video of a lady who had just received her hearing. She was deaf. Then she suddenly had an operation. She could first time she broke down. And I was thinking about these guys, these men, women, children, who had been taught these years, you must do this law, you must do that law, you must do this. Jesus says, you've got to listen to love. Love your enemies. Love my enemies? No. We fight our enemies. We stand up and argue with our enemies. We destroy our enemies. He says, no. I want you to hear this. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. No. If someone does something good to me, then I'll do good to them. I ain't doing anything to anybody unless they're good to me. It's reciprocal. He says, no. I want you to be the people who do good first. Bless those who curse you. Hang on. So you only want me to love them. You don't only want me, to do good to them, but you want me to bless them as well. Yeah. Can you imagine the revolution that is happening in these hearers' minds? This is revolutionary. What? Hang on. Pray for those who mistreat you. Why am I praying for them? I don't want to pray for them. They're horrible to me. I want to pray for people that are horrible to me. Jesus says, pray for those who mistreat you. If someone hits you on the cheek, offer the other. Someone asks something of you. Treat others as you want to be loved. You want to be forgiven. You don't want to be condemned. This is revolutionary. You want to be pardoned. It will be given. This is a radical lifestyle. This is billion miles from what the Pharisees and the Sadducees. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. It's all a series of no's. It would have been absolutely blown their mind. What was the other? Talk about the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the laws. Yeah, they had something like 900 laws they had to obey. 900. Jesus said, "Don't worry about them. Love you. Just love. Just love." It's a simple message. Because why? Why do I want you to love? Why do I want you to be different? He says, well, look at the world. Yeah, you lend money to people who lend you back to you. Good to people who are good back to you. not the world. You're different, separate from the world. If you lend to those whom you expect back, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And she's saying, look, this world, this restoration, this new kingdom that is coming in is not the same as the world. It doesn't work on the same principles as the world. It doesn't work on the same basis as the world. It is different. It is a kingdom of love, based on love, rooted in love, and it mirrors the character of the Father. That's why it goes on in verses 35 and 36. We can just see there, it says, but love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great. And you will be sons of the Most High, for he himself is kind and grateful. And all we're doing is mimicking nature and character. Jesus says, this are the wise and foolish builders. These are the people. If you're wise, you'll listen to these verses. If you're not wise, then you're going to fall down. Because your life is not going to be built on the things that matter the most. This isn't a tick list. Don't think that this is, oh, if I do this. We love tick lists, don't we? I have a whole system at work, and it drives me mad. It's field. Put loads of stuff on it, and it has to be ticked to this, and it goes on this big system, a big tick list. No, it all goes on this big list. No one does anything. I get all these stats come through that said, oh, you've got this many things not done. But Jesus wasn't, I don't believe Jesus was into tick lists. Yeah? You got a tick list, that's law. Jesus wasn't into the law. Jesus was into freedom. He's not saying in these verses, you've got to do things. What he's saying is, our lives, my life, our lives, need to be characterized by love. That needs to be the thing that is the root, at the heart, at the very core of it. Love. Nature of love. By this shall all men know you are my disciples, that you love. Love is at the very key of it. What about Galatians 5, 22 to 23, the fruit of the Spirit? But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. There's no laws against love. We act in love. There's no law to be love strong. Will we be exploited? Certain. Does that mean we shouldn't do it? Because we do it, that's the nature. Does God stop doing it because he gets exploited? No, he doesn't. God is faithful. His mercies are new every morning. And I can just see, as I was thinking about this, is all these people, multitude of people he was talking to, and they're going, what? And I don't want us to beat ourselves up. Jesus was interested in one thing. Creating new people, restored that we were created, meant to be, root of who we are, built, made, image of God. It's who we are. He created each of us in his own image. Jesus' gospel, his point, was to bring us back to who we really are. To give us that freedom to be, that love, that nature, that character, restoring us to who we were. Different from. Yes, we are in direct contradiction. Is it tough? By gum, it's tough. Because we don't want to love our enemies. It's hard to love our enemies. It's hard to be good when people are bad to us. That's what, that Christ living in us, projected through us, living through us. But Again, all these things are actions, aren't they? It says, treat others. It's our responsibility to do that. Treat others. Also, bless, love, do good. They're all. The gospel of love isn't passive in its gospel of love. It's about action goes out. Who hears and acts. This is what he is. This is what he does. It echoes of 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't envy, and love doesn't boast. And love is not proud. It doesn't dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. It loves despite, love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Love loves for love's sake. No ulterior motive. We don't love to get something back. God loves not to get anything back, simply because he loves. We shouldn't beat ourselves because this is radical. God doesn't. He wants to inspire us to look, see who we are actually called to be, the nature of who we are called to be. See, the ridiculous thing, this ridiculous love, this ridiculous generosity, it's ludicrous. Look at it. It's completely upside down. It is mental. Totally. Do everything in love, says in Corinthians. You see, the picture to the right is actually from Gaudi. Now, have you heard of Gaudi? Now, Gaudi was an architect, Spanish architect. He did loads of work in Barcelona. Big fan of him. He was wild with his architecture. If you haven't heard of the La Sagrada Familia, which is a big cathedral, which is still being built even though it started over 100 years ago, it's that mental. Yeah, he died actually building his life's work. It's amazing the imagery about the fruit of the Spirit built into the architecture. But it was so complicated. He couldn't design it to where to put the foundation. Didn't know it was that complicated. And there's a museum underneath, and you come across this thing. What he did was he turned the building upside down. When he turned the building upside down and put little weights, yeah, it mimics the structure. He did it all in the chain. If the chain was loose, then it wasn't taking the load. He moved it tight. So he moved all the columns to where they were all tight. And there he knew then where to build it. It's mental. It's radical. It blew as a civil engineer, it blew my mind to think that turning something completely upside down actually works. But what Jesus was teaching here in this is completely upside down. It is absurd in the extreme. It is revolutionary. And it's interesting because in Acts 17:6, when Paul is there and all the people are fighting against Paul and they want him, what was the words they said? They said, these who have turned the world upside down have come here too. This message, this gospel of grace, this gospel of love, this gospel of peace revolutionized the world. And there were people there saying, hang on, these are the people that's turning the world upside down. Christianity, our faith, should challenge the world. And it's hard and it's tough. And will we be ridiculed for it? We will be exploited for it. But that is the nature of God that we serve. You see, Jesus goes on actually and tells 3 other stories in between that piece there and the parable of the wise builder. He tells a parable about the blind leading the blind. He says, he also told them about this parable. Can a blind man lead the blind man? Will they both not end up into a pit? student is not above the teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like. And then he says, and this is the one where the other one that probably most people know is probably most famous. He says, why do you look for a speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when you yourself fail to see the plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take out the plank of your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. There's three stories there that's squeezed in between that teaching about, this is the radical way we need to live, and the story of the foundation, the wise and foolish builders. And it's all about who are we listening to. He's talking to the people saying, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, they're leading you up the garden path. They're as blind as you are. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're building. They're lost in this realm of fulfilling the law. They're lost in fear. They're driving you. Don't listen. He said, can a pupil be better than its master? He's saying, you will never be better than a Pharisee. But this is different. This will take you on above, because he's saying that he is more Pharisee. And about taking the speck out of your own eye. Saying, how can you do that? The Pharisees are just the same. They're talking to you and saying, I'll take a speck out of your eye. But they're so blind. How can they help you? And he's telling the people there to be careful about who they listen, what teaching they are following, and where are their foundations. And this whole discourse is about taking us to this point when he starts talking about the wise and foolish builders. Listening to them won't give you life. Lead you into a dead end. And like in the same way, who do we listen to? What have we built our lives on? Then just lead us into the ditch. This is verse 43, the same chapter. For there is no good tree which produces bad fruit, nor on the other hand a bad tree which produces good fruit. For each tree is known by its fruit. For men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they pick grapes from the briar bush. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth what is good, and the evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth what is evil, for his mouth speaks which fills his heart. I don't think it's a coincidence. This whole thing, this whole chapter is all stitched together and culminates in this whole story about the wise and foolish builders. It's not a coincidence that this is just straight before the wise and foolish builders. It speaks about fruit. What am I building on? Where are my roots? What am I producing? You can't produce good fruit from a bad place. You can't have a big building with no foundation. And he's saying to them, get your foundation, you'll produce fruit. Good things bring forth good. Love brings forth good. That is where prosperity is. Love is the foundation of what we do. I don't know whether you know or not, but actually we were only called Christians 3 times in the Bible. 3 times. First one was in Acts 17. Usually we were called people of the way, because Jesus described himself as, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The way was mainly used for the believers. And this was Jesus' invitation in this passage. Join on the way of life, the way to bearing fruit, the way to be different, the way to be like our Father. Live love as your goal. It's simple. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by the law. Don't be distracted by trying to be self-righteous. All you need to do is love. It's that simple. Foundations of the house resist the storm. interested in self-preservation. It's always of us, the way